Hi. So I want to share about this trip I took as a 14-year-old to India with my family, and how that trip actually, as I reflect upon that trip, it actually has really informed me how to respond, how to be in the current times that we find ourselves in. So we started our trip up in the northern part of India, and we visited the birthplace of Lord Krishna. I think it was in a town called Madura, if I'm not mistaken. We went to the evening prayers at a temple near the church. Not sorry, the prison where he was born. Anyway, in this temple, it is packed to the brim. It's filled with excitement and cheering as people are gathering and chanting, and a very, very different experience from the temples that we frequent in Malaysia. So this in this particular experience, it felt like a huge celebration was happening, and there's chanting and dancing and singing to a particular rhythm, and I believe to a particular mantra as well. It was just so beautiful. And as a 14-year-old, I got lost in that energy. I felt myself disappear in the space. I remember the sculpture of Lord Krishna and his cohort, Radha, life-size, statues in just within our reach. And so people were singing and chanting along with Krishna and Radha, and it felt like this big celebration, a big party. And I couldn't help but feel like I was dancing with everyone there. It really was quite an incredible feeling. But what was amazing was in that moment of dancing with everyone, feeling that energy of the space, I danced with Lord Krishna himself. In that moment, I was holding hands and dancing with him. And it was so beautiful, so natural, so much joy filled my being. I was so at home. And a couple of weeks later, our trip takes us down to the south of India, to Kerala, where my family came from. And it's so beautiful in Kerala. And I have the opportunity to attend a temple service with my father. And it was a very different experience in this particular temple. There was no dancing or singing or chanting. People were very much following a very strict protocol. We had our place to stand. We couldn't cross the line. The deity was kept far beyond our reach, where the priest on his pedestal had full domain over. And what happened during this particular service was, we were told that we had to look away as women. Only the women had to look away and not witness this particular ritual that they were conducting. Now, I'm sure they had perfectly good reason for this, though I can never ever align with any reason that would have women turn away. Anyway, I remember as a 14-year-old feeling absolutely shocked. It's like, hello, I just danced with Lord Krishna a couple of weeks ago, and now I need to look away? What's up with that, right? And these two experiences left a very strong impression on my being. I felt it changed me in many ways. And today, when I think about here in New Zealand, we have just moved into a system of segregation. Let's just call it that. And in this system of segregation, you feel the energy of fear and despair amongst everyone, right? It's a very uncomfortable time. And what I am drawing from my experience in India in relation to what's happening now today here in New Zealand, and perhaps where you are in any part of the world, is this experience of separation, and how my time in the southern part of India showed me how that separation is perhaps perpetuated in practices and rituals and systems that don't honor our oneness with the divine, right? And it's perpetuated with our own projections of what that means. I remember very clearly being the 14-year-old who did not comply with that particular request from the priest. I was not having any of that. I was going to witness this ritual, right? And equally, I felt in that moment that I had done something wrong, that I was going to be punished for this, that I was guilty of a terrible crime, simply because I was a woman choosing to bear witness to what everyone else had the choice to bear witness to. So how this experience is informing me today is that particular moment of feeling into the ecstasy and bliss, dancing with everyone, feeling that joy. It was so contagious. That experience of that joy was so contagious. There was no separation there. The experience of oneness was very alive, and it was contagious. So when we can tune in to that experience of oneness, there is nothing but joy in that experience, and that joy is contagious. It simply is. You want to share this with everyone. And so rather than, or in fact, when we acknowledge that the fear and the despair comes from that other experience, from that experience of separation, then we know this is a place that is calling for mending. We are mending the separation. We want to heal this. This is what this time is showing us, that it is time for us to reclaim our oneness. And ultimately, the root of this separation is the separation from the divine. And so I invite you today to tune into that experience of joy, an experience of bliss. Let that energy be the one that is contagious. Let that be felt, regardless of where you stand on the side of segregation that is occurring around the world. Let joy and bliss for everything, for everyone, be the energy that you are aligned with today and every day. Let's infuse the times you're in with that experience. I hope this makes sense, and I hope this helps in some way if you are feeling caught up in that, in the times we're in getting lost in the shock and despair of the sort of segregation that's occurring. May joy fill your hearts today.